Shalawam, shalawam. All praise, honor, and glory to the God of our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. 𝐉𝐄𝐄, 𝐉𝐄𝐄𝐅𝐿, 𝐉𝐿𝐿. You know what I'm saying? Just want to, woke up with this on my spirit, read, in the gospel, about our King, Christ, 𝐉𝐿. Man, just, what I'm saying, like, just read his words, what I'm saying? Just, reading the gospels lately, just trying to, just better understand the King and, what I'm saying, better understand, how to walk like, what I'm saying, the Messiah, what I'm saying? You already got, might have to make a video on this vid. Already going off. They already going off. Let's see. But yeah, I woke up with this on my spirit, what I'm saying, man. The hopeful elect, the title of the lesson is Shalawam to the hopeful elect of 𝐉𝐿. 𝐉𝐿 by 𝐉𝐿. I want to get this Mark 13:20. And except that the Lord had shortened those days, no flesh should be saved. But for the elect's sake, whom he have chosen, he have shortened the days. Right? So, the Lord, 𝐉𝐿, by 𝐉𝐿, from the beginning, has an elect, what I'm saying, that the Lord is, patiently waiting on, to, get this knowledge and understanding, every day I pray, every day I pray this, that the Lord, gives the elect this knowledge so we can get out of here, man. This is on Revelation 7. And it says, and after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God, 𝐉𝐿. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and they were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Because I know somebody's probably gonna click the video and be like, why does he got 144 on the picture, for the video, because the Lord's waiting on his elect men to wake up. It says, of the tribe of Judah were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Asher were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Naphtali or Naphthalim were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Manasseh or Manassas were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Simeon were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Issachar were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Zebulon or Zabulon were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin were sealed 12,000. Right? And after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man can number, of all nations and kindreds and peoples and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. Right? That's talking about the large multitude of Israel that's coming from all nations, that's going to be saved as well. Shalawam to them as well, but, shalawam to the hopeful elect of 𝐉𝐿 by 𝐉𝐿. This is Revelation 14, verse 1. And I looked, and lo, a lamb. The lamb, obviously, we know as reading the scriptures, is talking about Christ. So Christ, 𝐉𝐿, stood on the Mount Zion, and with them 144,000, having his Father's name written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers, harping with the harps. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne, and before the beast, and the 4 beasts, and the elders. And no man can learn that song but the 144,000, which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. Because we know that in the gospel, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's either in John or Luke, If I find it, I'll put it in the comments. Basically, Yahushua basically said anybody that tries to go in, get in except through him is a thief, you know, and all that ever came before him are thieves, you know. So, you know, it says that also that his sheep hear his voice and they follow him, but a stranger they will not follow. So the elect men, let me finish this out. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto God and to the Lamb, right? So the hopeful elect, the chosen men of the nation of Israel, you know, are going to follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth, you know. They're going to follow Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai everywhere they go with. Right? Let's get this again. And except the Lord have shortened those days, no flesh should be saved. But for the elect's sake, whom he have chosen, he have shortened the days, right? So the Lord is shortening these end times because of the elect men that are going to wake up to this knowledge, right? And then if any man shall say to you, lo, here is Christ, or lo, he is there, believe him not. For false Christs and false prophets shall rise and shall show signs and wonders to seduce, because those are all seducing spirits. Those are not the Holy Spirit of the Most High. You know, Christianity, that's a seducing spirit. Islam is a seducing spirit. Egyptology is a seducing spirit. Worshiping Shiva Jata is a seducing spirit. You know, worshiping, Ogon, is a seducing spirit. Man, there's different seducing spirits in these last days. And Father, please forgive me. Just, saying it for, edification to the people. Because it says make no mention of another God, but we're just doing it for edification purposes, man, for the hopeful elect of Yahweh by Shem Yahushai. And it says believe him not, right? So you can't believe all these, false messiahs and all these different religions, all these different things that are seducing billions of people. It says if it were possible, even the elect, right? So, take heed that, you don't get deceived in these last days, man, because, a lot of people, are being seduced to go back into the world. A lot of people are seduced to go back to the Christian church. A lot of people are seduced by these spirits when they feel like it gets hard in this truth and they just end up just giving up, man. And, you don't want to be like that, man, because I had a lesson. I see men as trees, coming up, Lord, whenever the Lord put on my spirit. It says, but take ye heed, behold, I have foretold you all things. So Christ has already given us a forewarning. But in those days, after that tribulation, the sun shall be darkened and the moon shall not give her light. The stars of heaven shall fall and the powers that are in heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory. And then shall he send his angels and shall gather together his elect, the 144,000, from the four winds, from the uttermost part of the earth to the uttermost part of the heaven. So for people that always say that Christ said, go teach all nations, you got to understand, why would Christ say, go teach all nations? Because why? The elect is among all nations. The elect is in every single nation of this world. Because why? Israel has been scattered among all nations due to the prophecy that came to pass in Deuteronomy 28. So the elect is among all nations. That's why Christ sent his apostles and his men, and he said, go make disciples of all nations, because why? His elect is scattered among all nations, So, let's finish this out. It says, now learn a parable of the fig tree. While her branch is yet tender, put forth her leaves, ye know that summer is nigh. So you in like manner, when you shall see these things come to pass, know that it is nigh, even at the door. So when you see all these signs coming to pass, what Christ spoke, just know that the kingdom of heaven is nearer than what we ever believe and think. Because a lot of people think that, this Bible is not real, things are moving too slow, just a lot of carnal minded people, man, but for you brothers and sisters, man, that, is watching and paying attention, that And you see that the signs is coming to pass, you know. Verily I say unto you that this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. But of that day and that hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels which are in heaven, neither the Son, but the Father. So, you know, Yahweh Shai already said it straight up that um that nobody knows when he's gonna return. You know, nobody. Not the angels, not even himself. He said, but the Father. So that lets you know that this Yahweh Shai is the Heavenly Father. That's a heresy and that's a lie. Yahweh is a self-existent God. Yahweh Shai is the Son of the true living, invisible God, you know. Let's get it. Take ye heed, watch and pray, for ye know not when the time is. For the Son of Man is as a man taking a far journey, who left his house and gave authority to his servants, and to every man his work, and commanded the porter to watch, right? So he gave us all work to do, you know. Each and every last one of us, you know, have work to do in this walk, you know. It says, watch you therefore, for you know not when the master of the house cometh, at even, or at midnight, or at the cock crowing, or in the morning, right? Yahweh Shai can come at any moment of the day. And that's why it's very key to, for real, put down them sins, because you don't want to be in that day partaking in sin, you know, eating and drinking with the drunken, and you get the punishment of doing that, man, you know, because in the Gospel of Matthew, the same account, Yahweh Shai basically said that, hey, that brother or sister gonna get cut asunder and get his portion with the hypocrites, man. I don't even wish that on nobody, man, even myself, you know. I pray, Lord willing, that we, you know, all make it, you know, to see the salvation of Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. It says, lest coming suddenly he finds you sleeping, you know. And what I say unto you, I say unto all, watch, right? So with that, I digress. I give all honor and glory to Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. Shalawam to the hopeful elect of Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. Always to the large multitude of Israel that's scattered among the nations as well. Peace and blessings. All praise to the Most High.